I never thought I'd be the kind of guy who'd end up telling his life story on the internet, but here I am. Maybe I just need someone to listen, or maybe I just want to make sure no one else makes the same mistake I did. Either way, before I start, if you're here, hit like, share this story, and subscribe. Trust me, by the end, you'll understand why this one still hurts. My name's Grayson Miles. I'm 31, from Austin, Texas. For most of my life, I thought love was supposed to be simple. Two people, one promise, that's it. Then I met Lena Hart, and everything I thought I knew about love got rewritten. We met at a mutual friend's engagement party. She was there helping organize the event. Turns out, she was an event planner. I remember she had this laugh that could make any crowded room feel quiet for a second. You know that type of person who seems to light up every corner they walk into? That was Lena. When she smiled at me across the bar that night, I swear, I thought that was it. The beginning of something real. We started dating a week later. I was working long hours as a software engineer, so most of my free time went to her. I didn't even mind. Dinners, road trips, lazy Sundays, every moment felt like something worth keeping. She made me feel seen in a way no one ever had before. And when she said she wanted forever, I believed her. 2 years later, I proposed. I remember standing under the oak tree in Zilker Park, ring in hand, trying not to shake. She cried, said yes, and hugged me so tight I thought my heart would burst. For the next 6 months, our lives became a whirlwind of wedding planning. Venues, florists, photographers. She had a spreadsheet for everything. I trusted her with all of it. I just wrote the checks. $40,000. That's how much the deposit alone cost for the venue she fell in love with. An old vineyard outside the city, surrounded by hills and soft light. It looked like something out of a movie. She said she wanted that kind of wedding, a day that feels like magic. I didn't hesitate. I wanted to give her everything. But looking back, I realized something shifted about 2 months before the big day. Small things. She started getting distant, texting late at night, always talking to vendors. She stopped leaving her phone lying around. When I'd walk into the room, she'd quickly lock the screen and smile like nothing was wrong. I told myself not to overthink it. I'd been in relationships before. I knew how paranoia could kill love faster than truth ever could. But still, something about her eyes had changed. It was like there was a curtain between us, and I couldn't see through it anymore. Then came Tyler, my best friend. We'd known each other since college. He's the kind of guy who never sugarcoats anything, sometimes to a fault. One evening, he showed up at my apartment, face tense. "Man, I don't know how to tell you this," he said, "but I saw Lena last night. She wasn't alone." I laughed. I actually laughed. I told him he must have been mistaken. But he wasn't smiling. "I know what I saw, Gray. She was with some guy at the Copper Bar downtown. They were close." The Copper Bar. That was our place, where I'd first told her I loved her. That night, I couldn't sleep. I tried calling her, but she didn't answer. Said later that she lost signal at a vendor meeting. My chest felt heavy, like every heartbeat was warning me of something I didn't want to face. A week later, I decided to surprise her. She was supposed to be finalizing the seating arrangements at the venue. I drove up early, got there an hour before her. When she arrived, she was smiling, holding a coffee in one hand and her phone in the other. I walked up to her from behind and said her name. She jumped like she'd seen a ghost. Her phone slipped from her hand, and in that moment, her screen lit up. A text preview flashed across it. "Can't wait for tonight. Wish it was you walking down the aisle instead." My stomach turned cold. She scrambled to grab the phone, but I'd already seen enough. I didn't say anything for a few seconds, just looked at her. The wind was soft that day, carrying the smell of grapevines. I remember thinking how unfair it was, how beautiful the world looked while mine was breaking. "Who is he?" I asked. She froze. "Gray, it's not what you think." "Then tell me what it is." Silence. Then tears. "It was a mistake. It only happened once. I swear, I ended it. I don't even remember what I said next. My body went numb. The words mistake and once echoed in my head until they didn't mean anything anymore. She begged me to listen, said she was scared, said she thought I'd call off the wedding if I ever found out. And she was right, because standing there, I realized I didn't recognize her anymore. I drove home without saying another word. That night, I sat on the edge of my bed, staring at the deposit receipts on the dresser. $40,000 gone. And somehow, that wasn't even the part that hurt most. I opened my laptop, looked through our photos, the vacations, the ring fittings, the notes she left on my desk. I wanted to hate her, but I couldn't. All I could feel was the weight of every lie she'd told me disguised as love. The next morning, I called the venue and canceled. They told me the deposit was non-refundable. Company policy, they said. I didn't argue. What was I supposed to say? My fiancé cheated? Please understand? Lena showed up later that evening. Eyes red, makeup smudged. Please, Grayson, don't do this. We can fix it. But you can't rebuild trust from ashes. I told her I needed time. She said she'd wait. I watched her walk away from my porch that night, not realizing it would be the last time I ever saw her in person. I thought that was the end of it, but I was wrong. The real story hadn't even started yet. The morning after I canceled the wedding, my phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Calls from vendors, relatives, even my mom. Everyone wanted to know why. I didn't answer a single one. I just sat on the couch, staring at the half-packed boxes that were supposed to go to our new apartment. It's strange how fast excitement can turn into static silence. By noon, Tyler showed up. He didn't say anything when I opened the door, just handed me a paper bag with coffee and a breakfast sandwich. "You look like hell," he said. I nodded. She admitted. "Yeah," I said. "She called it a mistake." He sat across from me, shaking his head. "You don't deserve that, man. None of it." For a while, we just sat there, the TV playing some morning talk show in the background. I remember thinking about how, a week ago, Lena and I had been arguing about table linens. Now we didn't even have a wedding. Around evening, I got a text from an unknown number. "I think you deserve to know the truth." There was a picture attached. Lena and a man at a rooftop bar, his hand on her waist. The timestamp was 2 nights before I caught her message. My chest tightened. I stared at the photo until the screen dimmed. The contact name said Maya T. It took a second to register. Lena's cousin. I didn't reply right away. Instead, I drove to the lake outside town where Lena and I used to sit after work. I parked, rolled down the window, and let the cold air in. I opened the message again, then typed, "Why are you showing me this?" Maya replied almost instantly. "Because she's lying about ending it. They've been seeing each other for months. I couldn't keep watching her do this to you." I stared at the words until they blurred. It wasn't just a single mistake. It was months. My hands started shaking so hard I dropped the phone. I called Tyler. "Meet me at the Copper Bar," I said. When we walked in, the bartender recognized me immediately. "Wedding guy, right? Congrats, man." "Not anymore," I muttered. Tyler leaned against the counter. "You remember seeing Lena Hart here recently?" The bartender frowned, thinking, "Yeah, she was in a few times. Same guy each time. Tall, maybe mid-30s, drives a black Mercedes. They always sat in the corner booth. Why? Something happen?" I didn't answer. My stomach was already turning. Tyler put his hand on my shoulder. "We can leave, man." But I needed to know. "You ever hear his name?" I asked the bartender. He nodded slowly. "Think she called him Elliot." Elliot. The name hit like a brick. I remembered her mentioning a client named Elliot Rowe, a photographer she'd hired for a destination wedding last year. I even met him once. He shook my hand and told me I was lucky. Guess he knew exactly what he meant. When I got home that night, I opened Lena's old planner. She'd left it on the counter the day she came by to beg for another chance. I flipped through until I found it. His name, scribbled in the margins next to random dates. ER dinner, ER shoot, ER hotel. My stomach twisted. Every page felt like a lie I'd paid for. The next morning, I called Maya. Her voice was small. "I'm sorry, Grayson. I didn't know how else to tell you. She told everyone you were being paranoid, but she's still seeing him. Last night they were together at his studio. I thanked her and hung up. Then I did something I never thought I'd do. I drove there. The studio was downtown, glass front, lights still on, even though it was past 10. I parked across the street and sat in my car, watching. A few minutes later, the door opened. Lena stepped out first, followed by a tall guy with messy dark hair. He handed her something, looked like a small envelope. She hugged him, quick but familiar. Then they kissed. Not passionate, just practiced, like they'd done it 100 times before. I don't remember leaving. One moment I was watching, the next I was halfway down the highway with the radio off and my heart thudding so hard it hurt. When I got home, I deleted her number, blocked her everywhere. It didn't stop the messages though. Unknown numbers. You're overreacting. Please talk to me. It's not what you think. Every word felt like a splinter. A week passed, then another. I went back to work, pretending to be fine. My coworkers noticed the ring missing from my hand, but didn't ask. Tyler checked in daily. He'd joke to keep me from collapsing into the silence. But the nights were the hardest. That's when the memories came back. The laughter, the plans, her promise that we'd grow old together. One night, I opened my email to clear out wedding reminders. Buried in the spam folder was a message from the venue. Following up on your cancellation, please confirm if we should forward the replacement contract to Miss Hart's party. Replacement contract. I called them immediately. The coordinator answered, cheerful as always. Hi, Grayson. Yes, Lena mentioned you two decided to move the date. She asked to transfer the booking to her new client, Elliot Rowe. We just needed your signature to finalize it. My breath caught. She's using my deposit for another wedding? There was a pause. I thought you were both in agreement. I hung up. My hands were trembling. $40,000. She hadn't just cheated, she'd turned our wedding into theirs. I sat in silence for a long time, trying to process it. Then I grabbed my keys and drove straight to Tyler's. He opened the door in gym shorts, mid-sip of a beer. You look like you're about to explode, he said. She's marrying him, I said. Same venue, same date. He put the bottle down slowly. Tell me you're kidding. I handed him my phone, showing me the email. I'm done being quiet. He didn't even hesitate. Then let's make sure everyone knows who she really is. I didn't want revenge, not exactly. I just wanted truth. But once we started uncovering the lies, it spread faster than I expected. Tyler posted a photo from the canceled invitations on his private account, captioned, "Some people plan weddings, others rehearse betrayals." He didn't name anyone, but in our small circle, everyone knew. By morning, my phone was blowing up again. Mutual friends, coworkers, even people from Lena's company asking if it was true. I didn't answer. I didn't have to. 2 days later, Lena showed up at my apartment. She looked exhausted, eyes puffy from crying. "Why are you doing this?" she asked. "Doing what?" I said. "Making me look like a monster." I almost laughed. "You don't need my help for that." She stepped closer. "You don't understand. Elliot promised me things, work, exposure. It started as business. It just happened." "Yeah," I said, "and so did lying, I guess." She flinched, then turned away. "You think this makes you the good guy? You think people won't find something to blame you too?" "Maybe they will," I said, "but at least I'll be honest about who I am." She didn't reply. She just laughed, slamming the door so hard the picture frame above the couch fell. That was the last time we spoke. It's been 3 months now. The venue sent a final confirmation. Lena and Elliot's wedding is scheduled for next weekend. I thought the idea would crush me, but instead, I feel empty, like I've already lived through the worst of it. Still, sometimes I wonder what people will see when she walks down that aisle. The perfect bride, the new beginning. They won't see the $40,000, the sleepless nights, or the man who believed in her enough to lose himself. But I see it every time I close my eyes. And that's the thing about betrayal. It doesn't end when they leave. It ends when you finally stop replaying the moment they stopped loving you.
It's strange how time moves after heartbreak.
Some days race by like a bad dream, others drag until you forget what sunlight feels like. The week of their wedding was both at once. I told myself I wouldn't think about it. I'd planned a trip out of town, 3 hours north, small cabin near the river. I packed early, hoping the drive would keep my mind busy. But when Saturday came, the same day Lena was supposed to marry me, I woke before dawn and couldn't move. The world was quiet, the kind of silence that presses against your chest. I made coffee and sat by the window. My phone buzzed every few minutes. Texts from friends checking in, some gossip, some pity. I ignored them until one message caught my eye. It was from Maya. "You might want to see this." She sent a short video clip. My thumb hovered over it before I pressed play. The screen filled with sunlight and wine barrels, the vineyard. Guests chatting, a string quartet tuning in the background. Then, mid-frame, Lena appeared. White dress, veil, perfect smile. Beside her stood Elliot, Tuck's crisp hand at her back. The camera shook slightly before panning to a group of whispering women. One said, "Did you hear about the deposit? Same date, same venue. Poor guy lost everything." Then someone off-screen added, "Guess karma doesn't miss weddings." The clip ended there. My stomach twisted. I didn't know whether to laugh or throw the phone across the room. Another message came seconds later. "I didn't record that," Maya wrote. "It's spreading. Someone leaked the email thread between Lena and the venue." I opened my laptop, typed her name into social media. There it was. Posts, comments, screenshots. The internet had done what it always does. Take something private and set it on fire. People were furious, mocking, judgmental. I should have felt vindicated, but all I saw was a memory of her laughing under that same oak tree, the one where I'd proposed. I closed the laptop and pressed my hands against my eyes. Tyler called a few minutes later. "Man, it's everywhere. You okay?" "I don't know," I said. "Good, stay that way. Don't engage, let it burn itself out." But I couldn't sit still. Around noon, I got in my truck and started driving, not to crash their wedding, not to see her, but to see that vineyard one last time, to end the loop in my head. The sky was the same clear blue it had been the day she'd said yes. When I reached the top of the hill, I parked by the fence. The ceremony was already underway in the distance, white chairs lined in rows, soft music floating through the air. I stayed in the truck, windows rolled down. From there, they looked like dolls in a perfect scene, tiny, harmless, unreal. I could just make out the officiant's voice. "Do you, Lena Hart, take Elliot Rowe?" Her answer was faint, but certain. "I do." Something inside me went quiet, not broken, just still, like a storm had passed and left nothing standing but peace. I drove away before the applause started. Halfway home, my phone rang again, unknown number. I ignored it twice before answering. "Grayson Miles?" a woman's voice asked. "Yes." "This is Anna from the Vineyard's accounting office. I wanted to let you know, since the event you originally booked has been completed, we'll be sending a partial refund." I blinked. "What?" "The bride insisted we return at least part of your deposit. Said it was the right thing to do." I didn't respond for a moment. "How much?" "20,000. You'll see the transfer within a week." I thanked her and hung up, staring at the road ahead. Half back, half gone, like everything between us. That evening, Tyler came over with pizza and beer. We sat on the porch as the sun went down. "You really drove out there?" he asked. "Yeah." "Did it help?" I thought for a second. "Maybe. Feels like closing a book you already know the ending to." He nodded. "You gonna take the refund?" "Of course. I earned that heartbreak." He laughed quietly. "You ever gonna date again?" "Someday," I said. "But next time, I'll read the warning signs." For the first time in months, we laughed without bitterness. Later, after he left, I walked inside and opened the drawer that still held our old wedding invitations. I took one out, looked at the embossed gold letters, Grayson Miles and Lena Hart, and tore it in half. The sound was softer than I expected. Then, I opened my camera, hit record, and started speaking. "I used to think love was supposed to fix you," I said. "That if you gave enough, you'd get it back. But sometimes, giving everything just teaches you what everything really costs. I paused, staring into the lens. If you're watching this, maybe you've been there. Maybe someone made you believe forever was real. Don't let them take your hope with them. People break promises, not the idea of love itself. I smiled, small but real. And hey, if you've made it this far, do me a favor. Like, share, subscribe. Not for me, for the part of you that refuses to quit believing. I ended the recording, saved the file, and closed the laptop. Outside, the night was cool and still. Somewhere out there, music from a wedding carried faintly on the wind. But for the first time in a long while, it didn't hurt. I took a deep breath and whispered to no one in particular, "Goodbye, Lena." Then I turned off the light and let the silence finally mean peace instead of loss.